Hello and welcome to Outside the System. This is your guide, Mr. Nobody, and I'm very happy to welcome you travelers back to my channel. It's like, in case you're wondering what I do on this channel, you
Source
can check out my
characters
first
and
video. But if you just want to get straight into this is a brand new series. I mean, every series on here is brand new because the channel's fresh, but it's a brand new series. This is the Character Forge, where I take public domain or maybe open source characters later on, I don't know, rework them into one big universe we all working on collaboratively. As you can see by the title, today I'll be working on Count Dracula, obviously the most famous public domain character of all time. I mean, I would say so. I'll be looking at the origins of the Count from the work of Bram Stoker, the real history that inspired him, quote unquote, and the core themes that make up the character. Finally, I'll be doing my own reimagining and I'll give it straight to you guys. Nothing crazy, just like a brief overview of the story. Now that we know the introductions, let's just get straight into the video. Let's go. Before we even think of reimagining a character, we have to understand what we're working with. And that's what we about to do right now by looking at the work of Bram Stoker in his 1897 novel, Dracula, a dark, gothic horror told through diaries, letters, and newspaper clippings, giving it a feel of an outsider's perspective, like you're reading about the adventures, but also an insider's perspective, because it's news clippings, like you found this book and you reading it like as somebody in the world. So that's also, it's very interesting. It's always been very interesting to me. I haven't finished reading Dracula, but I definitely will when I have the time. I will not be going deep into the details about the novel during this video. Only going over the parts that I'll be using to make my version of Dracula, but if you guys want it, I will make a different video going over Bram Stoker's Dracula and all the other stuff about it. So, who is Stoker's Dracula? Let's just get into that. He is a centuries-old aristocrat, a nobleman from Transylvania who is hiding his evil true self behind the act of a charming aristocrat. He is a powerful, supernatural being. It is said that he has the strength of 20 men, can control animals and the weather, and he can transform into a bat or a wolf. That's very strong. That's like, and that's gonna tie back into later. That's like how he uses his powers, and it's like into my work. But now let's move on to his weaknesses. His weaknesses is that he's weaker in the sunlight. It's like he cannot enter homes without being invited into them, and he cannot sleep. He must sleep on native soil. I was about to say he cannot sleep without native soil, but I don't know if he can sleep or it's just like a rejuvenation thing. It's like he is afraid. He is afraid. And by that I mean, okay, that sounds a little crazy. What I'm trying to say is Dracula is fear. It's like Dracula is a character made up of fears, and I think I know the fears that make up his character that Stoker like used to make him. I think the fears that make Dracula is the fear of outsiders, fear of people that you don't know coming into your land and such. I think that's a part of it. I think it's fear of the old. just like fear of things, just like before yourself, things that have like pre-establishment, fear of the unknown, fear of this like not knowing what it's like, fear of like power you can't understand. I think there's also a fear of plagues and sicknesses with the vampiric aspect of it. It's like and how we want to stop it from spreading and like stop them from like infecting more people. Stoker's didn't create Dracula from nothing. He actually has notes that show that he's drawn from folklore and history. It's like the name Dracula is taken from Vlad Dracula III, the son of the dragon. It's like a 15th century Varangian prince known for his brutal tactics against the Ottoman Empire, including impaling his enemies on spikes. However, recent scholars suggest that the connection between the two is mainly in name, and Stoker's notes don't show really any like connection between the two really. That's like he's like the main inspiration for the character, mostly the name. Everything we just discussed is public domain, and that is due to a copyright error. So the novel and its characters entered the public domain in the United States in the mid 20th century. This means everything we just went over about the vampire Count from Transylvania with the specific powers and weaknesses is free for us to use, adapt, and reimagine. That's we free to use our concept of Dracula. So, what do I need? It's like we went over everything, but I want to get a closer look, put on my magnifying glass, and really see into what we have so far. It's like what I need is to know the themes that make up this character. So now that we've gone over the origins, we've gone over just like some a brief history, like very brief. We gone over some other things like powers. Now let's go into the themes. What like really makes this character. So the core themes that make Dracula, I think, is his otherness. When you're reading the novel, just like you see everything from a perspective that's not Dracula's. So it always seems kind of like distant from what you can understand. So he's like, also he's just a different creature entirely that feeds on humans. So it's like a very, very large disconnect from like you understanding Dracula. So that's also a factor I think that's very important to consider. I think nobility, how even when he's like he's a monster, he still acts with like the nobility that presumably he's had like for most of his eternal life. That's like we know that, and when he first introduced himself, he's kind of charming in a way. It's like and he's and his nobility kind of like presents him in a good light, even though he's weird. He's a weird dude. It's like isolation. Obviously, he's a vampire, but also being a vampire makes you live longer, so you're more likely to be by yourself. And just the loneliness of his character, because he really doesn't have like any like group that follows him or like any like unit that he moves with. He's like a solitary character. I think that's an interesting thing to go on. Also, ancient power. The power that he has, he's like really strong, and from what we know, because he's a vampire, he's also old.
The descent.
That he can control weather, and that's he can like control animals to an extent. It's a very like earthly power, but it's also the earth also fights him. So that gets to the next theme, nature. His like he has the power to bend nature to his will, like he can control the weather, like he can do some he can turn into smoke and like fade, but he can also control animals like bats and like and wolves, and you have to think to yourself, that's a very natural power, but at the same time nature is also fighting him, just like the sun. So it's kind of you kind of think to yourself, it's kind of like a balance thing. It's a natural power of things and like how these should be, and how nature like sets itself right without the interference of like humans. So how am I gonna use these themes? I plan to use the theme of otherness, and I plan on turning him into a different species. I'm gonna make Dracula elf. Elves in modern day are known for nobility and their connection to nature, which I think is also themes I already talked about, which I think are important. So I think turning him into an elf fits with the story I'm going for. Obviously, he's still gonna be noble, just like of noble descent, because I think that part of the character, his charmingness, and his ability to manipulate people, doing that, even if there's like a facade, like it's just a facade, I think is like very important to the character. It's like I think his powers, like the power that he's like so strong, but there's also powers that are like beyond him, even I would say, because they afflict a curse upon him. So I think like that ancient power of like just being a vampire is also like important to me. But I'm about to take the power outside himself, so he has to face the ancient power, and then he has to take it upon himself to have it. I think I'm also just like, so that's what I have planned for the themes, and now let's turn that into a character. And this is now my version of Vlad Dracula. So his origin. He is the second son of the royal family of Shivara, a hidden elven kingdom in the mountains of Cartherian Carpathians. No, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that, as that's I'm butchering it, but it's a Carpathians mountains. If you understood what I said, good for you. If you didn't, that makes sense. Moving on. Like most elves in modern media, they live longer than normal. Just like, and they have an innate connection to like more natural magics. That's a that's definitely a factor in the story. Elves. I'm gonna do a video on elves, but for now, I'm just gonna go with the basics. So that elves. He was betrayed by his head advisor. It's like who personally murdered his family right in front of him and framed Vlad for it. Vlad, being a second illegitimate child, just like made his position in the family almost set in stone that he would never get the throne. So that's how he was able to set that up. And his advisor with the human kingdom that he conspired with is able to take over the elven kingdom. And he sent Vlad with the vote of the people to a labor camp where he would be forced to suffer and then die for the rest of his life. At this camp, Vlad would be forced to work hours on end doing the most hard and grueling labor possible. Mining, carrying just like tools and just whatever they needed to get done. Particularly mining at this location because there's a special mineral that they needed that was very explosive. But Dracula gets a special job that almost nobody in the prison wants. It's like nobody in the labor camp or the prison. It's like it's like facilities of this place wants to get this job, but the old advisor personally recommended Vlad for this job so he could be even more tortured, like in his days in the prison. So Vlad not to die, because if you don't accept, you most likely be killed. He has to put the bodies of people who disobey, just like the officers and just like and the people that control the labor camp. He has to put them on spikes outside of it. Due to this, everybody in the camp, especially the laborers, do not like Vlad and come up with a name for him. Vlad the Impaler. Just like, so he's very notorious, but he's also bullied, and people want to stay away from him, so he doesn't have a lot of friends. But one day, as he was mining, he uncovered a secret room, just like in the mines, with a codex inside. Well, it's like the definition of codex is that ancient text, just like put in book form, pretty much. It's like inside the codex was detailing this like horrific magic. It almost felt like reading about the spells was having claws dig inside his brain. It was very painful. It's like at first he wanted nothing to do with such magic. It's like it brings death to people, and it brings death to those around the person who uses it. But then he thought to himself, if he could kill the man who murdered his family, it doesn't matter how bad the magic is. He just wants the power to execute what he wants. So he takes the books and studies it for months. He learns more and more, and he discovers a ritual. This ritual would allow him to gain a lot of power in a very short amount of time. But he has to sacrifice 100 living souls in one singular day in an area soaked in death. Luckily for him, the labor camp is soaked in death. It is a very, very terrible place. So he takes advantage of this and prepares to murder all the guards. And he would have, if he murdered all the guards, he had more than enough lives to sacrifice to gain the power that he needs. So during the night, after weeks of preparation, he kills a lot of the guards while they're sleeping. I would say about 25. But after this, like the 25th one, they're alarmed of his presence and they go after him. Vlad has set up a trap. It explodes. Boom! It's like he collected the material I talked about that is very combustive, very explosive previously, and he set it up. It's like in an area where he could easily ignite it. It's like, and he blew up another large chunk of the guards, but there's still, I would say, around 50 of them. So it's like, so more than half of the guards are still alive. He decides to fight the rest of the guards head on. It's like, and he managed to kill about 10 or 15 on his own in a fight. It's like, but given that he's just one guy, that's about all he can amount to. He doesn't have enough kills to activate the spell yet to gain all the power, and he's surrounded by the guards that are ready to execute him. But luckily, luckily the bodies that are around him right now, because they're still fresh, he uses the blood in their bodies to shoot just like solidified blood spikes at the people that got directly over the bodies and stepped over them to get the Vlad. So they explode. Boom! And that kills most of them. Vlad finish off the last guard. And he drinks their blood. He drinks their blood. And sleeps next to their bodies for 10 days and 10 nights, taking in the energy of death from the place and taking it into his own body. After 10 days and 10 nights of agonizing suffering, he turns into a vampire, ready to seek revenge on the man that killed his family. Holy moly, I can't even speak. But, so we skip ahead a little bit. I mean, a lot. Like, we skip ahead a lot. He goes after the man that killed his family, but the man imprisons him with a spell, right? The spell imprisons him until modern day. And he wakes up in modern day, everything's different, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's lost. He couldn't get his revenge, he failed his family. He doesn't even know if the man is alive at this point. It's like, maybe he would live this long, just like, probably he would live this long as an elf, but there's no elves anywhere. He can't find a single one, and there's a whole bunch of, like, places he's never seen before. There's metal machines going on concrete roads, stuff that he could have never imagined before. And he's lost. He awakens in a modern world. His people are gone, and they are only known as myth. He's now that if you heard this, he's the ultimate outsider. He embodies the theme, just like of outsider. Just like he's the ultimate outsider. And now he's no longer on a quest for vengeance. He's looking for purpose in a world that he really doesn't belong in. Now that's fire. Well, if you disagree with me, make sure to let me know. I think that's good. And even if you don't like it, I have to thank you for watching the video and watching this far. This is Outside the System. I'm Mr. Nobody. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See y'all next time.